Fine right now.
Prague Pro coming up next. Wrap up with Chris Aceto and myself.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
The 2025 IFBB Prague Pro just let out. Martin Fitzwater repeats from last year. That's a two-time champion we have in Martin, and I got Chris Aceto here. And Chris, this lineup was talked about for the last couple of weeks leading up to the show, because we had Samson Dauda, Martin Fitzwater in this lineup, and Keone Pearson moving up from the 212 division. A lot of people thought this might be his breakout show. He might steal this and prove that he's a real open competitor. I don't think anyone predicted Martin Fitzwater winning this show.
Well, if you saw the wrap-up, you were there at the Olympia. I thought that Martin could possibly. You got a lot of static here.
Yeah, keep going.
So, I mean, he wasn't. I said explicitly he was not in the call of the top four, but he arguably could have been in a 5-person call out and pushed Samson into 5th place at the Olympia. That's how I saw the show. But I think that, it was like a coin toss between the two of them at the Olympia. I mean, you had a downsized Samson, and you had, a really good but not superlative Martin. And, there's even at that show, I thought they were comparable at that show. I thought it was I thought Martin looked great at the Olympia. If you watched, even when we did the finals wrap up, that was after prejudging. Martin was on my lips as a person who can, win many shows against many great bodybuilders, and he just proved that today.
When Martin's on, he's spectacular. He's got really good shape. The lower back detail is probably the best in the whole lineup. When we're talking about Olympia competitors, he's got a level. His legs are just wacky looking when they're in shape. When he's a little off, it's weird. He's a type of physique that he doesn't look good when he's a little off. But when he nails it, he beats a lot of guys that potentially are better than him. Now, when I heard that Samson Dauda was coming in, was already 300 pounds, 2 weeks after the Olympia, or whatever, a week after the Olympia, and he was talking about how, he grows very quickly. I said to myself, you know what? He's going to come in more carved up, but it's not going to be a better look, because and we said this, both you and I said this, you cannot regain muscle in a week and a half, okay? He lost, legitimate muscle while he was dieting for show. Matter of fact, I think you predicted this over the summer, right? You were saying that in August you said he looked like he was downsized, right?
Yeah, you can. I know what you're going to do. You can post that text from King Kamali.
Let me pull that thing up. Kamali sent you a text. Give the
it was
basis behind this.
And Kamali had sent me a message right after he guest posed. And I sent you the Instagram that you posted. So
I'll post it.
It was a good prediction.
Well, you said that he looked like he already was downsized.
You don't have the chat GTP ability, Jake, to just pull it right up.
I'm pulling it up.
Well, let people read it. Read it verbatim. There it is.
Kamali says he needs to keep his fullness, and you wrote he lost it already.
Yeah, it was done on, that was in the date. It's dated August
30th.
So that's when they, things changed for him in August, because being in that edition on August 30th was too soon. It's like I've said before, it's like flying an airplane from Manhattan to LAX in Los Angeles. You can't stay close to the ground or you're going to crash the plane.
No, it's true. It's true that here's the problem. We said it at the Olympia. Samson needs to be big and round, okay? But he also needs to be hard. And I think he dieted to get the conditioning, which I think he had, but he lost some of the wow. Now, here's the question I have for you, Chris. Did he lose muscle, or did he actually realize that he didn't have as much muscle as he thought to begin with, and when he dieted down and got to the level of conditioning he needed to, he really wasn't as big as he thought he was? Which is it?
I think that he lost muscle because when he was third at the Olympia, he was brutally big. And he was very hard. He just wasn't crazy dialed when third place. And that Olympia when he was third, they compared him to death with Derek and Adi over and over. And I don't know if you recall, Dave, but I said, if he was like just a little leaner, he's just like right there. And I think when he won, that was, he could have been harder when he won, yes, but he was big. And when he was second at the Arnold, he was big,
right?
Gigantic.
Yeah.
It didn't work for him on that particular night. He ran into like a super dialed Derek. But this is a very good Samson here. It's very, very, very good, but it's not the massive Samson that looks great, but at the same time, everyone is critical. Like, we want to see him diced up.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about this in more detail on Heavy Muscle Radio on Monday, but I just wanted to put this out there. I personally think that Samson doesn't have as much muscle as we thought he did. And I think he realized that when he dieted down. I thought his conditioning is really good at both the Olympia. He was a little flat at the Olympia. I think it's great here in Prague. He's fuller here, but we found out that he's not as big as he needs to be. I don't think he lost that much muscle. I think he finally realizes what he's got. And he's going to have to get back to the drawing board. The good news for Samson is that he grows real easy. So he can put on another 10, 15 pounds and hopefully bring that same level of conditioning in that he brought at this show. The last person I want to talk about real quickly is, and then like I said, we'll do a full wrap up on Heavy Muscle Radio, is Keone Pearson, because a lot of people thought he was going to come in here and decimate this lineup. He's the 212 reigning champion. He seems like he's got a little bit of an abdominal issue where those rectus abdominis muscles are separating. They call that a diastasis, where the connective tissue that connects the two rectus abdominis muscles will spread. It seems like it's getting worse as he's getting bigger. Is this something that he needs to get fixed? Is it fixable? Phil Heath really couldn't get his fixed. And is this going to impact his ability to move to that open class? Should he stay in the 212 class?
I said a long time ago, there's nothing wrong with being a dominant 212 champion. I mean, how many classic wins at the Olympia did Chris Bumstead had? You know what I mean?
6. Yeah.
Popularity wise, by respect wise, it's gone a long way for him. I mean, Flex Lewis won 2012 championship. Never competed for the Open. So I just think here in this lineup, with Krizo, who's big, and Martin, and it's a killer lineup. These are played there yet in terms of.
I don't know. I think that he should maybe stay in the 212 category at this point. Because I think if he gets bigger, I think it's going to ruin his physique, and I don't think he's big enough to beat these big guys. That's at least the takeaway I got from this little experiment that he did. He's not big enough right now, even though he's perfect in every way. He's not big enough to beat these big guys, and if he puts on more muscle, he's going to ruin his physique. That's what I think. So we'll have to see what he decides and what the decisions. I think the judges are going to tell him to stay in 212, and I think it's going to be a good move for him at this point. It'll probably save his health, preserve his health, long term at this point, right? And what did you think of this Joan Pradells? I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right.
I think he's fantastic. He's got great.
Right?
He's got he doesn't have weaknesses. So structure. If you have great structure, big V taper, sweep to the top, said this like so many times before, and you don't have the, definitely to win going forward.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a real star of the future. Well, that was a quick wrap up. Martin Fitzwater requalifies for the Olympia next year. He beats Samson Dauda and a very good Keone Pearson. And that's 2 for 2. He beat Chris Bumstead last year. This seems to be his show. He better stick to doing this show every single year. This is kind of Martin's Olympia, if you might say. 30 grand richer. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I'm Dave Palumbo with Chris Aceto. We'll see you on Heavy Muscle Radio.